Hi, this is Michèle at Jasami Publishing with the Jasami Bookworm podcast. We have just gone live, and the reason one of our authors is walking back and forth is because I forgot to unmute. So what we've recorded, we're going to record again, and that's part of the fun of doing it. It's a slightly windy day here in Edinburgh at the Edinburgh International Book Festival. Yes, I know, I'm getting the looks. You just can't get the help these days, seriously. So let's say hello in our own language. So say hello, Simpson Munro.
Hello.
Say hello, Maria.
Moi.
Say hello, Anne.
Hello.
Say hello, Gigi Penney, otherwise known as Gordon.
How's it going?
So we'll start again, is that Gordon Penney wrote Penny for Your Thoughts, which is a series of poetry books, which he'll tell you the reason for it. And Anne was the editor on that and assisted greatly. Maria is also working on translating Journeys with Joy. And Simpson Munro is the author of the Andy Blackmore series, as well as The Publisher, which is not a story about this publisher, as she has read here. So the question you answered once before, but you get to answer it again now, and as we are live. With the editing with the poetry, so how was that for you, and do you feel a particular significance about any of the poems?
Yeah, the first one was Gordon wrote a poem about me. It was very romantic, lovely, very thought-provoking. And the other poignant one was the one about my brother, who had been in the army and was now retired and lived on his own because his family had all moved away, and unfortunately died alone. And that's where the poem started, with my brother being in the army and then dying at home alone, which was quite sad. And that's how Forgotten Hero, came about. So
it's very touching and poignant to hear about that. And the one thing, although he was forgotten at that point in time, he will live on in the legacy of the poem that was written by Gordon. So this is, that's a key, is that during that lifetime at that moment, but going forward, he will never be forgotten again. So I know those are slightly sad. Tell me a funny one that you wrote, Gordon, and how that originated.
Well, it was through COVID and just thinking about Scottish people. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and Hot for Scots is probably the funniest one that I wrote. It was about the way we react when it's hot. We don't take the sun too well. We start off a pale blue colour and end up a pink red colour. So that was probably the funniest one that I wrote.
That's the thing. It's nice to have a balance of funny, and I know there's a few travel poetry in there, which we'll have a reading in just a moment. So please tell us, Simpson, about how you came up with the idea for The Publisher. Again, that's not about me.
How did I come up with the idea? Well, I did the Andy Blackmore series, Officer's Tale, The Secondment, did the third part, Going Home. So one book follows on to the other. Then I did the fourth one. So 3 and 4 are currently editing stages. Then I just get fed up with Andy Blackmore. So I didn't know what to do. Sitting in the train, going from where I live to Queen Street, looked down Dumbarton Road and I thought, that's where my next book's going to be. And that's what happened as far as the publisher's concerned. Andy Blackmore's a guy, Yvonne Duncan's female publishing company, Glasgow City Centre, gets herself involved with a younger personal trainer. One thing borrows another. It turns out that he is part Italian, then the Italian family comes into it. And things really start to go pear-shaped for Miss Duncan, but Miss Duncan can handle herself and dealt with the matter.
Well, we'll just leave that up to the people who want to read it, because all these books are available at the Edinburgh International Book Festival. So we have first, Sweethearts and Swan Songs. We also have A Penny for Your Thoughts, and we have The Bear, which is a children's picture book. So it's quite a variation, and you just need to visit the festival. So I know you started with just a few of the poems, Gordon. How long did it take you to write all of them that are in the book?
Well, probably about 7 months. But when I started off, it was only about 10 till the publisher said it's a possibility of a book. So my aim was about 50, but I ended up with 70. Some of them are just silly little poems about wasps, things like that. I probably added in more than I wanted to, but I ended up with 70 poems. So for somebody that's never done it before, there's a lot of contact. It's all good, but some of them are very poignant, and that's the ones I like better.
I loved Why a Wasp, because it does question their existence, because very true. The only thing they're good for is stinging, but they're part of the ecosystem, so I won't say anything against them or I'll probably get in trouble again. And that's happened twice today, so we won't worry about that. And so Maria, we chatted about this the other day. You are doing the translation, and because you were going to the university and you had actually heard about someone else doing the translations. What do you like most about what you're working on right now?
I like the challenge, because the book itself, it's when I was reading it, I thought, okay, well, I like this, the language it flows well, and the descriptions of the places are beautiful, the photographs are beautiful, and then just Finnish and English are two completely different languages. So then what I like about the translation process is just trying to find the balance, I'd say, because oftentimes when I was doing the translation, I thought, okay, well, the sentence that sounds really good and flows well in English sounds very clunky in Finnish. So I really like just trying to find a way to translate all that beautiful prose into Finnish without it sounding really clumsy. That's been a challenge, but it's fun.
Well, also, too, is the context of the story is more important, because words do not directly translate always. For example, journeys. It's, how it's used in the context of the story. Again, as we said, with joy. And what is the enjoyable part of the translation for you?
It is just trying to find different words and just meanings for the word journey, and then I've been trying to think of okay, which word to use. Should I use this Finnish word or this Finnish word? And what was I going to say? Just to I can actually properly play with the language and play with the prose. Just try a few different things. See, okay, does this sentence sound good? Maybe it's not the best, but I'll just leave it for now. And then when I come back to that same sentence a few days later, I realize, no, wait, this is what I want to do with it. This is what it should sound like. This is what it should look like. So that's what I like about it, that I can actually play with it.
And that's nice with the creativity, because when stories are created, the creative process, when they looking through the lens, and for our photographer Joy to see that photograph, and then of course for the story that's written about it. And part of the reason in a photography book is that although the author, Catherine Grace, came up with a story that went with it, anybody that looks at that photograph can come up with their own idea, and that generates the creativity of when you look at that photograph, what does it mean to you? So now, Simpson, what was I know you've done a couple short stories. My particular favorite is The Cleaner, which may turn into maybe a novel?
Yeah, possibly. I haven't touched it since March, right enough. But it is on its way to being a novel.
So
all my women are bad. I haven't got any good ones yet. I really need to find somebody that's nice and romantic. They're all just head cases.
Well, just because they like to murder a little bit, I see no trouble with that. I mean, what's a little murder here and there? What about the cleaner?
What about it?
Well, what about her, the cleaner? I know she cleans up in several respects, but from the short story, you can reveal a little bit about it.
Okay, what happened there? All right, I've told you I was going down the train, saw down Dumbarton Road, and that's where my next book's going to be. And then I left the house one day, and I've got a school next to me, and I saw this cleaner putting a bin bag in the bins, and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. And that went to the Daily Mail for their short story competition. Never heard from it again. So I didn't clean up there, I can tell you that for nothing.
Well, in the way she's cleaned up on a few nefarious characters.
Yeah, she does get through the bodies one by one.
Mm-hmm.
But to round up the publisher, how about 2 Men, 2 Lives, 1 Choice?
Oh, that sounds very enigmatic. We like that one.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. I finished the publisher. Finished it about 11 o'clock at night, so thank God that's it over, done. Wakened up at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not finished. And went back down and wrote the epilogue. And then I thought, now I'm finished.
And that actually, that epilogue is so interesting because it gives such a twist to the story that, well, once again, you'll just have to buy the book and read it. So is there any one of the poems, Gordon, that you love in particular?
Obviously the first one. And I also wrote when Sean Connery died. I started Farewell Big Sean. His life story and a short story. Quite like that one. But and there's another one about a football team in Scotland called Lanark. I've told a story about that, the death of Lanark and why they died at a time when Scottish football was at its highest, 1867. All sorts were going on then, and the Lanark went into liquidation and disappeared. I wrote a story about that, a poem about that.
So how did it go with the rhyming? Was that difficult for you?
It was. The story came first, and then I made up the rhymes, because you've got to get the story. It's not a matter of just rhyming. The story's got to be there, and the story was there. That's the most important thing.
Now, Anne, I know that you assisted with the editing part of it. Was there any difficulty with that? Oh, I see noddings. I see certain noddings. Was there one where there was an absolute time where you said, oh, no, this shouldn't work, or it shouldn't, or how did it work for you?
Well, some of the editing was quite difficult because there was too many commas. So Gordon done it on his phone, and then we put it onto the computer. So you're taking it from the phone as he's typed it in. So spaces, spelling mistakes, and spaces, and too many commas, too many spaces. But apart from that, it wasn't too bad.
Editing is a challenge. Maria, you are going to be editing a book starting shortly in September. What do you think your biggest challenge will be with that?
I'd say I often doubt myself, and that's something that I shouldn't do. But I think it's because I like grammar, I like commas, I like deciding whether this is whether I should use a comma or a hyphen. But I feel like I do doubt myself a lot, so that's something that I just need to stop doing and just tell myself, no, I can do this. I can speak English. I can use commas.
Speak a common voice. That's what they're there for.
Yes, that's true, except you can't pause too many times. Gordon, how do you feel having your first book of poetry here at the Edinburgh International Book Festival?
Well, when I first started doing them, I never thought they were going to be here. Obviously very proud, and happy.
Excellent. And Simpson, and we're having, this is great. So we've got the crowds here at the festival just touring around, going to the book signing tent. Of course, lots of goodies are available to everyone, and the sun has come out, thankfully. Now, Simpson, how do you feel about the books that you have here at the festival?
Fully expected to be here, to be honest with you, because I thought the publisher was brilliant.
Thank you. And yes.
And if anybody recognises the voice, yes, I am Simpson Munro. I am also Ian Mac from Ian Mac's podcast, and I'm the Grumps from Grumps in the Lad. The story's out, and the big reveal has been revealed at Edinburgh International Book Festival.
And thank you for the plug about the publisher, but you're not getting any more on the royalties. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right. So we do have the books available. As I said, we have Furs, Sweethearts and Swan Songs. We also have Bernie the Bear, You Can't Go There. And the flip side.
I was saying in 10 minutes, just over there. Okay, thank you very much.
And that's what we're in the queue for, signing books. So, and that's a penny for your thoughts. We also have Journeys with Joy. We've also got I think I said Bernie the Bear. Yes. And we also have the 13th Parable and other short stories, scary stories. Don't read them before you go into sleep. And we have, there is one more. A penny for your thoughts. I was saving the best for last, Gordon. Do you like being included?
I thought you forgot me.
No, we always save the best for last. That's why we did do that. All right. So from beginning to end, I know you said you were writing it during COVID. Did you write the poems throughout the 2 years, or when did it start?
Well, it started in COVID and it finished. I finished halfway through it. Yeah. Basically, I get caught up with it. There was nothing else to do. You know, we watched all the programmes on television. The weather wasn't that great. At that time, we couldn't buy anything in the shops, so you just sat there and wrote poems and thought about different things and put them down.
And lots of commas.
Lots of commas and stops and full stops.
And you have written a couple of new poems for us. So does this mean you're on your second book?
I don't know about second book. I haven't wrote enough of them, but I think they're better. I think they're slightly different subjects. There's one about the First World War and one about a password. Everybody's got a password. Why have got a password? The history of Red Indians in America. Why they're so downtrodden, and the history that they had in America. So there's a few of them. But I haven't done enough of them. But at the moment, we'll see what happens.
One thing I noted in the first book, the poetry that I really loved, was that it wasn't, obviously, being Scottish, that's the most important, but you traveled throughout the world. And so you included your travels in there. Do you have a particular poem about your travels that you really liked?
Yeah, probably White Island in New Zealand. There was a tragedy there 3 years ago. And we actually visited White Island, it's an active volcano, and walked around it. And 2 or 3 years ago, it exploded when people were there. So we could fully understand what happened to the people. So one of my poems is about White Island. And actually going there was like one of the best things I've ever seen. Dolphins surrounding the boat and gannets coming down, diving for fish, and then going on to see White Island. And then 2 years later, we found out there's a tragedy. So that's another one that's quite poignant as well. But that's why it stands out for me.
I know that several of them do tear at the heartstrings, but that's one. I think it's placed that there are ones that will leave you feeling, with a tear, and then the next one will be a funny one, and then you'll be teary again, but it will be from laughter, which is a wonderful thing. I do love the poetry, and our other poet is Andrew F. M. Wilson, and he's written throughout his life, and he has a trilogy. His are quite deep and make you think quite a lot, and yours are more on entertaining, as well as they do make you think about relatives and what they've been through.
Yeah, autobiography. One was about my granddad, Pop Penny, and how it was about my grand's life during the Second World War. How my mum, Aunt Sadie, and Uncle Robert and Uncle Bill were brought up. That's quite poignant, and I enjoyed writing that one.
I didn't make it through that without crying. 3 lines in, I started. So I think the sun is coming out. We've kind of chatted with our authors about how they feel about being here. And I'm really enjoying the live visits because we've got lots of noise behind us. So you can see that we're out in the real world, that we don't have to be inside anymore, imprisoned. Now that you're out of prison, you've written a few of the poems. How does that fit into the schedule now that you actually have a real life again, Gordon?
Yeah, that's why I don't write as much. The ones I wrote are quite personal to me. Some of them are funny as well. I think, obviously, I don't have as much time as I did have then. But I'm still writing. I'm still putting pen to paper. Probably a long time before there's enough for a book.
How is the comma situation, Anne?
No, it's just the same. It never changes.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Some of them don't. Did you have any issues with your editing, Simpson?
This whole bit would get bleeped out. That's all I can say. It would just get bleeped out. And you know the story. Yeah. Aye. Yeah.
That is. And since we do have one of our editors here with us, we won't tell any stories that might terrify her. Fortunately, the good news is you won't be doing Simpson's books. So they leave that pleasure to someone with more, yeah.
Fight in them.
No, that wasn't it. Maria doesn't have fight in her. It's we like to guard and protect.
You were leaving them to someone with more fight in them.
No more something. Anyway, what are your plans for the rest of the festival? Are you going to stay at the book festival, or are you going on, Maria?
I'm actually quite intrigued by all the books that we've talked about now, so I think I'll go and have a proper look at all the books inside the bookstore. I haven't read Penny for Your Thoughts, so I'm going to have a look at that and see if it translates into Finnish, perhaps.
It's very, very good. I've read a lot of the poems, and it's really, really good. Really enjoyed it.
Yes, and they do take the comments out, so it's all right. So I think we're going to take a wander, and we are going to go off ground because I've just talked to all of our within our own company here, and we would like to see about people out in the real world and get their opinion about the festival itself. So for now, we'll say cheerio. I'll say cheerio.
Bye-bye. Adios.
Moi moi.
Bye.
Cheerio.
This is Michèle at Jasami Bookworm Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We're live, but it is going to be recorded and uploaded for your listening pleasure. So thank you. And I may add another bit in between just to make it interesting for the editor of the program. Anyway, thanks again. And as always, I wish you a sunny day.
The book is A Penny for Your Thoughts, written by G.J. Penney. The poem is called Forgotten Hero. He's old and he's lonely as he sits in his chair, his cuppa in hand and with steam in the air. The morning is cold as the news filters through. There's a bug going around, and it could affect you. He's to stay indoors and be on his own. No one to talk to. Maybe someone will phone. Locked away in his house like a prisoner in shame. All his plans are on hold. His life's not the same. He fought for his country, so brave and so proud. Now forgotten and frightened, just a face in the crowd. He thinks back on his life with family and friends, looking forward to seeing them when this all ends. He remembers the love he had with his wife, all the years together, a journey through life. And the children grew up in a real happy home and moved on with their lives with kids of their own. Now he's left by himself with no one to share the memories of love with family and care. We're in this together, well, that's what we're told. But maybe it's different when you're lonely and old. And another day dawns and the news filters through. There's a bug going around and it could affect you. There's a lonely old man and he's slumped in his chair. There's no life in his body and it seems so unfair. But it wasn't the virus that made him so scared. The reason he died was that nobody cared.